my name is Chelsea and I blog over at Making Manzanita, and I'm right in the middle of changing my blog name, so you may see it on Facebook still as the Johnson's Plus Dog, but that's still me. I'm getting ready to change my name, so now I blog at Making Manzanita, and I'm so excited to be with you guys today at Hometalk. So we're going to be making a bunch of spring and Easter type decorations, mostly that you can put on your table. So we're going to get started with the first one right away. This is just a regular size, it's a big mason jar, and I get the mason jars at the thrift store, and I think I paid about 75 cents for this. So it's best if you can buy them at thrift stores, but you could buy them at other stores as well. So we're going to be painting and distressing these. So we want to start by cleaning it really well, and I just use rubbing alcohol. This is just a 70% rubbing alcohol. It doesn't really matter what kind. And I just pour a little bit on a cotton pad, and then I just clean the glass really good. And the reason you want to do this is because there may be oils from your hands or whatever on the glass. So this will help clean the glass so the paint can adhere to it better. You want to clean it, but then you also want it dry as well. So I'm just going to use a dry cotton swab to dry it off. And like I said, my name's Chelsea, and we are joining you guys from Central Oregon, USA today. So we would love to have you comment in the comments below where you are tuning in from. So it's always really fun with these home talk videos to see where everybody's coming in from. There's lots of other countries and everything, so definitely comment below. So we're going to start painting, and I just use an acrylic craft paint. And this paint you can get at, I get all mine at either Joann's or Michael's usually, but it's usually pretty cheap. They're about $1 a piece, and usually I try to get them on sale. And I have found that this craft paint, it works really well. This one's a little thick. Whoa.
While you're doing that, we got some people from Chicago, Mississippi, Texas.
Awesome.
I saw Kentucky in there somewhere.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely let us know where you're tuning in from. So I'm using just a foam brush, and these again are the cheapest brushes you can buy. I buy like a big old bulk bag of them because I go through them really quickly. So, and just good old craft paint. I've seen a lot of these tutorials with painting mason jars done with chalk paint. And I've tried that, and I'd say it works pretty much the same as craft paint, and the craft paint is a lot cheaper. So I don't think you need to use the chalk paint. It's a little more expensive. So you'll see when we're done that it has a matte effect with the craft paint too. So
looks like you have Florida, West Virginia people tuning in too. So
awesome. Yeah, definitely let us know. The giveaway question today is going to be, what do you eat for Easter? So later on in the video, we're going to be doing some fun Easter crafts. So hence the Easter theme. So definitely let us know what you guys eat for Easter. I don't know what we're going to eat this year. I mean, the typical meal is usually ham, I think. But
yeah, a lot of people do ham, potato salad.
I always love learning about other families and even other countries' traditions. If you guys have any fun Easter traditions, I would love to hear them. Okay, so we've got one light coat, and then I'm just going to do the top rim here. And since we're going to be distressing these, you don't really have to worry about making it perfect. And that's what I kind of love about the distress, the farmhouse kind of style. Everything's a little rustic. So you will see that after you have one coat, which is what we have here, it doesn't look very good. So don't get discouraged. It's not going to look very good for a while. So that's our first coat. So I'm going to show you what it looks like after you have two coats. So this is what it looks like when you have two coats. Obviously this is a different color, but you can see it's starting to fill in a little more. It's not quite as clear. So it's starting to look a little better, but it's just not quite there yet. So what I usually do is 3 coats. So we're going to do one more coat on this so you can just see how it kind of rounds out. And we're going to be using the mason jars in a fun decoration for in a little crate that we're going to be making in a minute. And it could be used on, this paint's kind of
getting dry. Well, while you're doing that, someone said they make a lamb-shaped cake.
Oh,
And apparently that's what they do in Germany. It's like a German tradition.
Interesting.
Also got some people from London and Quebec tuning in too.
Awesome. I'm at the bottom of my paint here, so I just had to take off the top so I could get some more out.
And this is the same type of paint?
This is, yeah, it's a different brand. I don't really buy one brand over the other. I kind of just buy whatever's on sale.
Yeah, whatever's for $1.
This is, yeah, the Americana brand. The other one was the, I don't know, folk art brand. So we're just going to do one more coat. So again, this already has 2 coats on it, and we're doing a third and final coat. And you may find, depending on your paint or your color, that you may want to do more coats after this. But I've done 3 on all the ones I've ever done, and it works perfect for me.
Someone asked what color this is. I'm just going to show them real quick.
I love this color. I have it on tons of stuff all around our house. It's sea glass. It's kind of like a mint. It's really fun for like spring though. It's kind of bright.
Well, this person has corn dogs and marshmallows.
Oh, that sounds like your kind of meal right there. Okay. So the one tip that I have found with this paint is you don't want to do too many runs with the paintbrush. And by that, I just mean once you put the paint on once, you don't want to go over it again unless you have to, because since it's painting on glass, you may find that it kind of starts peeling up if you paint on the wet surface. So that's why I like to do 3 light coats, and I like to space them out enough so that I'm not painting over. You definitely want enough time so it dries completely. It works best if it's a dry surface you're painting on top of. It starts kind of peeling if you're painting on the wet surface. So that is one tip that I have found. So yeah, we're going to be using these for decoration with another little thing we're making. And it can go on a centerpiece or on a shelf decoration. But really, these painted mason jars are so versatile, they could be used anywhere throughout your house. So I've seen them as like utensil holders in the kitchen. That's a great way to use painted mason jars. Or in your bathroom, they could hold cotton balls and Q-tips and all that fun bathroom storage. So I'd love to hear any other ideas you guys have of ways you could use mason jars in your house.
Somebody suggested a latex primer first, which, I mean, they're right. It would make the paint stick easier.
Okay, that's a great idea.
And then someone wanted to know if you've ever used spray paint.
I haven't used spray paint, but I have seen a lot of other tutorials that have used spray paint. So I've seen their results and it works. I think it works well. So I wanted kind of the matte, and I like being able to see a little bit of the brush strokes. I think it makes it a little more rustic, and it's just kind of the feel I was going for. So that's what it looks like after 3 coats.
What color was that again?
This is the sea glass color by Americana. And then the darker one that we did was folk art. And let me find the name of this color. I think it's just a navy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I don't see the color listed on here, but it's just like a navy blue. So, these are drying real quick, but I'm going to show you, actually no, I'm going to wait. We're going to let those dry while we move on, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to finish those in just a minute, okay? Alright, so my hands are a little painted here, but I'm going to be touching a computer, so I just need to make sure all the paint's off. Okay. So next we're going to be using a Cameo, which is it's a cutting machine, and it's really fun. I'm really excited to share it with you guys today and show you a really fun technique for it. So this is my Cameo, and I think it's an older version. If you were to buy a new one, it's probably will maybe look a little bit different because I've had mine a few years. So what this does is it hooks up to your computer, and you can design stuff on your computer. There's a special program, and then you'll put it in here and it'll cut out the design. And I mostly use mine as kind of a stencil maker for painting projects, and that's what we're going to be using it for today. So I have my design right here, and we're going to be typing out the letters Farmer's Market, and that's going to go on a fun little wooden crate. So it comes with this mat, and this mat is sticky. Mine's kind of old, so it's a little dirty. But what you do is you put on your paper, whatever you're going to be cutting, and it sticks to the surface, and then the blade is going to run over it and cut out the design that we have on the computer. So I already have my design ready to go, so we don't need to waste time. And this paper that I'm putting on here is actually, my fun little tip for you, it is contact shelf liner from the dollar store. So you can buy a whole roll of it for $1. And you could also use vinyl if you wanted, but it's a lot more expensive. I mean, I've gotten a ton of projects out of this, and I still have a ton left. So I get this at the dollar store, and you can cut it to whatever shape you want, and it's basically just a sticker. And the design doesn't really matter. I have a few different designs. We're just using it as a stencil. So you just stick it on here, and this is about how big our design is going to be. So I've already measured it all out. And I want you to turn it on. All right, and you just put your little mat here, and you load. And it's kind of loud, so let's see here. And I'm just going to push print on my program. Okay, and there it goes. It's going to start cutting. So it's going to cut out the letters, like I said, Farmer's Market, which is what we're going to be painting on this crate, which I can show you right now. It's kind of loud, so I'm going to talk loud over it while it's cutting. It'll be done in just a minute. So this is the crate that we're going to be using. And I get this crate at Michael's, and it's actually only $4.99. And if you wait until you have a coupon, you can get it half off or 40% off, and you only pay like $2.50 for it. So what I've already done, this comes in an unfinished wood, so it'll be a lighter wood. I've already stained it. So the stain I use is this. It's kind of dirty, but this is our wood stain. We use a dark walnut by Minwax, and I stained this last night. I just did a really light coat of stain, and what we're going to be doing, we're going to be painting over the stain, which I know sounds really silly, but it's a really fun effect, and it'll make the wood look vintage. So you want to stain it well. You'll notice when you're staining these pre-made crates that seams will have glue, and they'll just kind of look junky. The stain won't soak in, but no need to worry, because since we're going to be painting over this, that doesn't really matter. You'll never see that stuff, so don't worry when you're staining this. All right, see how fast that is? So fun. Okay, so it is done cutting. So it cut there, and we're going to unload it.
You can't see the letters on the phone, so
yeah, I know,
don't worry about that.
You won't be able to see it quite yet. You'll see it once we start peeling it off here.
People want to know what blade depth you were using.
Oh, I will look at my settings right now, and I hope it's the right settings. Let's see. I was using, the material type I put in was vinyl, and sorry, I don't have it right now. I'll comment later today. I think it's an 11 is the blade depth I was using, or the blade thickness. So I just keep it the same because I always use this same paper for my...
People want to know where you got your silhouette cameo.
I got mine on Amazon. And if you go to my blog post, there's a link to the same one, the newer version. They don't sell this version anymore, so it'll look a little bit different. So what we're gonna do, this part is kind of time consuming, so just bear with me for a sec. We are going to be getting these out of here. Okay. And as you can see, it just printed, it just cut out the letters just like I wanted.
Everyone says they're going out to buy cameos.
I know, the cameo is a lifesaver. It's so fun to make signs, and just really fun. They look professional made signs. I sell a lot of them on Etsy too. So, I mean, you can really do it yourself with these cameos. It makes it easy to make stencils, and I've used it on tons of different stuff. So, see, I think I probably would have, if I was doing this again, I would have adjusted to just have a little thicker. It didn't cut all the way through. It's still gonna work for what we're doing, but it's just making it a little more difficult.
Why are you doing that? Maybe you could ask about how everybody's weather is.
Yeah, so I would love to know what you guys' weather is. We are looking at gloom, and we had some rain, I think. It's been cloudy. I am more than ready for spring to arrive. It's been kind of cold here. We had a rough winter. So I'd love to know if spring has come to wherever you are today. Okay, almost done. And we're just, for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna do one of these words. We're just gonna do the bottom, because I have the finished product that I can show you at the end too, so you can see how it all looks. But we're just gonna do a little piece of this. You can kind of see how you could do it on your own. Okay, so here's our last letter we need to peel off. There we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the letters right on here. And this technique that I'm using is really fun because we already stained it. We're gonna put the letters on, and next we're gonna paint over the letters, which I know sounds crazy. Okay, but it's a really fun result. So I'm trying to do this upside down, so bear with me here.
92 in La Quinta, California. That's hot.
So I gotta turn this around. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
Okay.
Ew, 50 miles per hour. 50 miles per hour wind in Indiana, which sounds terrible.
Wow. Yeah, I would love to know if anybody has snow on the ground right now. All of ours has melted. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know who has snow on the ground still. And I bet if you still have it on the ground, I bet you are ready for it to start melting.
Yeah, someone from Newfoundland, Canada said they're still buried in tons of snow with no spring weather in sight.
Aww. Well, hopefully these spring crafts will help you get in the spirit anyway. Okay, so since this is taking a while, I don't want to bore you guys. So I'm just going to actually do a couple of these letters. I'm not going to peel off this whole word. And because I can kind of show you how it works, even if we don't get the whole thing. So let's first pretend that we finished and we had all of our letters here. Okay, so there we go. So what you want to do, you want to press them on as hard as you can because we're going to be painting over them, and you don't want it to bleed by just having it lightly on there. So the paint we're going to be using for this is chalk paint. And this chalk paint is a pretty inexpensive brand. You can get it at the craft store. It's a folk art home decor chalk paint, and this is just their white. And I have used it on a few different projects, and it works really well. I've been really happy with the result. So I'm just going to move this aside, and again, I'm just going to use a foam brush. So I would love to know if you guys have used chalk paint and maybe what your favorite brand is. I know people are very brand loyal when it comes to their chalk paint. So I'd love to know what your guys' favorite brands are. Maybe you've used this version before. You know what you think of it.
People are asking what font that was when you cut it out.
And I forgot to look. I think it's Garamond. I'm pretty sure. But I can double check and I'll let you guys know in the comments later tonight. But I'm 90% sure it's just a Garamond. It should be a font you guys all have on your computers. Okay. So I'm going to try not to get over here because I'm going to continue this later and I'll put the rest of the word here. So there is one coat. All right, and while that's drying, we're gonna go back to our mason jars and finish those up, okay? So I know this is kind of, I'm sorry I'm jumping around, but we're doing painting today, so we have to wait on drying. So I was hoping this would start to be dry, which it is. It's not dry up here, but we're gonna just work on the bottom anyway, so I think we're good to keep moving on this. So the last step for the mason jars is to distress them. And I just use 220 grit sandpaper. And so this is a fine sandpaper. I think they make finer than this, but this is just what we had on hand. So what you want to do is you just want to slide the sandpaper over the paint. And I like to focus mostly on the embossed lettering because that'll be a really fun result. So, and I guess you don't have to do this part. This is kind of optional, but I really like the way it looks after it's been distressed a little bit. It's a little more of the vintage feel. You can like see how when you rough it up on the corners or directly on the paint, it'll start kind of peeling away. So I usually do that in a few spots. I'll do it at the bottom. And then this actually doesn't have any design on the back side. Some of them do. So you would just continue distressing it. You could do it at the top, on the rim, and it'll start poking through. So there we go. And you can distress more or less. This is really just up to you. And it may look a little different depending on your paint color too. So there we go. So that's our distressed mason jars.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions about the mason jars or any more about the cameo before I kind of move on?
So they want to know if you put a clear coat after you're done painting the mason jar.
You know what? I never have. You probably could. I haven't really I like the matte kind of look at the end, and I've never run into it chipping more. And if it does chip more, I mean, it's already distressed, so it's just kind of add to the character. If you did want to add a clear coat, I would recommend maybe a spray paint polyurethane, or you could also try a wax. This is the wax that we use on a lot of our projects. We're actually going to use it on the crate. That's why I have it out. So this is just a min wax paste. It's a finishing wax. It's clear. It's just hard in there, and you would just rub it on with a rag. So it's a clear matte kind of finish. So you could try that. But again, I have never had any trouble with the painted mason jars and needing any sort of coat over it. All right, so that's the painted mason jars. So we're gonna jump back over to our crate here, and we're gonna do another coat of paint. So it's kind of starting to dry. All right, and again, you would do, obviously you would paint the whole crate. For the purposes of this live video, we're not gonna do that just because it's a little more time consuming than what we have time for today. So I do 3 coats of this. You could do more, you could do less. It's really up to you, but I usually do 3 coats for most of my painting projects. Okay, so you can see how it's kind of coming together with, since we are doing a live video, I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward as if we have 3 coats. So I'm gonna start peeling this off so you can see kind of what it looks like, and then I'm gonna show you the finished project. Okay, so this really it works a little better when it's all dry, but I'm just gonna try it without. Luckily I have little fingernails here.
And people would like to know where you get the crate.
The crate I got at Michael's, and this is just, if you type in like 15-inch crate, that's what this will pop up. So you can see it bled just a little bit on our M, not that much, and I'm gonna distress this so you really won't be able to tell. So pulling off my other letter, and I love just this look of the wood grain showing through. And you could really take this technique and do it on anything. You could do signs, you don't have to do a crate. You could do any type of lettering you like. So you can kind of see how that's looking. and I'll finish this later tonight probably. But I want to show you what this looks like if you did it all the right way and all the steps. So, let's just fast forward here, and this is how it looks when it's all done. And the one step that we didn't do on this one is I distressed it a little bit. So again, I use the 220 grit sandpaper, and I just kind of distress it. I focus a lot on the edges, and when you start to get the paint coming off, you'll see that the darker stain that we did underneath starts showing through. And it gives it a kind of like a vintage feel. That's why we do the dark stain underneath, and to see the letters. So I love the way this turned out. I had it up on our table, and I'm gonna use it all throughout the house, all throughout the year. So it's gonna be a fun piece that'll kind of move around our house. So I'm gonna show you how it looks with the painted mason jars. So this is one way you could decorate with this crate with the mason jars that we just painted. These ones are already done, so they're nice and dry, but it's the same colors that we did. So, and then I did a gray one too, and this is just like a plain gray craft paint. So the first way I decorated this crate was with some flowers, and these are just from the dollar store. These are faux hydrangeas, and they come on long stems that I cut down to a little bit smaller. So I just put these in here, and this, I just loved the way this looked for spring. It could be great for Easter. I'm going to show you one other way we're going to kind of make this a little more Easter friendly, but I just love the way this looks. You could change out the colors. There's just a lot of different ways that you could use this. I would love to know what your guys' ideas are of what to put in the mason jars. Do you have another type of favorite flower? Or obviously fresh flowers are always really fun too, but they don't last as long as these fake ones. So. All right, so I'm gonna set this aside here, and we're gonna move on to our Easter type craft. All right, so we mentioned that you guys needed to go to the dollar store and grab your plastic eggs. That was the tagline of this, or the headline for this video. So now we're really gonna get into that. So these eggs are from the dollar store. I got a pack of them for 18 bucks. I thought it was a great deal. I've been able to use them for lots of different projects. So these have a very light coat of white spray paint. That's why they're not quite as bright as you normally would see. So I did a really light coat of spray paint, and you'll see why in a second. So we are going to be upcycling these plastic Easter eggs with vintage book pages. And this is a vintage book. This is a vintage dictionary, actually, that we're going to be using. And I got this at a thrift store, I think, or a yard sale, and I've used it for a ton of different projects. And I just pull the pages right out of here. So this is my little craft book. So I'm going to grab one of these pages. It's already cut up a little bit. What you want to do is you want to take your vintage book page, and you don't have to use a dictionary. You can use any type of vintage paper. You could use vintage sheet music. That's really fun. And you just want to cut the paper in about 1/2-inch strips. And we don't need a whole lot for this, so we're done with that.
While you're doing that, people want to know, why do you choose to cut the letters out instead of use stencils on the crate we just did? And I have a question about the eggs.
Okay. Why do I cut the letters out instead of use a stencil? You could use a stencil if you want.
Good.
Definitely. I like having the flexibility of using the Cameo and cutting whatever font I want, whatever colors, whatever size. You know, depending on the crate, I may need to make the letters bigger or smaller. And so I like having the flexibility to do that with the Cameo and kind of cut it however I want. But yeah, if you don't have a Cameo, for sure you could use a stencil from the store. Or you know what else you could use? You could go grab some stickers, like some letter stickers from the craft section, and just use the stickers if they were the right size, and that would give you the same look. Okay, so did you say there was another question about the eggs?
Yeah, people need to know that it's not a Bible. It's a dictionary.
No, it's not a Bible. It's a dictionary. I wouldn't cut up a Bible, especially for Easter.
Yeah.
No, this is just a dictionary.
Clarify it. And
yeah, I didn't spend a lot of money. It's not a valuable book. Don't go cutting up books, but this one I specifically got for my crafting, so I felt fine for using it. Okay, I've got one other thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
I just had to clarify. People thought we were cutting up a Bible on Easter.
No way. Okay, so what we're going to be using is Mod Podge, and this is a big container of it. This is the matte Mod Podge, and for the other ones I made, I used the gloss. So we'll see how it goes with the matte. But I think both Mod Podges are going to be fine.
Stand in the sun.
So yeah, is the sun kind of? You want to put the
try to
down?
do it more in the sun.
Okay, I will. I'm going to just move forward here. The sun's going down and the window's behind us. Okay, so the easiest way to keep this as clean as possible that I found was to take your little strip of paper, and again, these are cut about 1/2 inch wide, and I cut them an inch, between 1 inch and 2 inches long. So that's all our paper. Oh, drop some Mod Podge. Okay, so you just want to put a very light coat of Mod Podge on the back. That's probably a little too heavy too. And then you're just going to start laying them on your egg. A little bit bigger, but that's fine too. So the key here is just to keep this, try to keep it as clean as possible, because if your hands start getting sticky, you're going to start peeling off. It's kind of like newsprint with these small pages, or the old pages. So if your hands get too sticky, it's going to ruin the paper. So that's why I try to just do a really light coat on the back. Okay. I'd love to know if you guys have ever done any crafts with plastic Easter eggs. I think they're just a really fun way to celebrate Easter. So if you guys have any good ideas of other ways to upcycle Easter eggs, I know there are a ton of ideas out there. We would love to hear them. Just put them in the comments. Okay.
People have a question of why you don't paint the egg with Mod Podge and then put the newspaper or
I
the
tried
Bible
that
or the dictionary on.
and I made an absolute mess. It was all over my hands. It was all over the paper. So I kind of changed what I was doing and I started doing it this way, and I was able to keep it a lot cleaner. And like I said, if your hands start getting all Mod Podgey and you're playing with the paper as you put it down, it's going to start like coming off. The print is going to start coming off because this is just a thin, kind of more of a delicate paper. It was a little harder to do that way. So this is just to keep it cleaner. I found this was a little bit easier. So yeah, typically with Mod Podge though, when I'm using it, that's what I would do. I would paint the whole thing and then paint another layer on top of it. That's kind of how you do the decoupage, but I ran into some issues when I was doing it that way. So as you can see, it's getting all over my hands, but we're just gonna keep moving here.
You're fine.
Okay.
People also have been saying that they could use an old newspaper. Because there's a lot of people.
Totally.
There's a few people that don't like to cut books.
Yeah.
So newspaper would be a good idea for them.
Yeah, newspaper. You can buy vintage looking book pages. Like I think they sell like scrapbooking paper that looks like an old book. So that may be another route too. I like the old book because it's thin and has the kind of aged look to it. Another really fun idea that I saw recently was you can use, you can buy like printed napkins that have fun designs on them and cut the design out, and then you could Mod Podge that on top of the book page. Like butterflies and other type of like vintage looking little designs from napkins, and because it's so thin, it kind of it goes translucent when you put it on with the Mod Podge. So that's a really fun idea too. Or like tissue paper, colored tissue paper is another great idea. Really, the options are endless. So any other good ideas for ways to upcycle plastic Easter eggs? I have a bunch of Easter eggs left, so I'm looking for some more ideas.
Not too many. People thought that you could. A lot of people put their pictures of their kids on there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And kind of do the same Mod Podge thing. Or
yeah.
A lot of people say they hot glue just to kind of save their hands.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
They must be better at it than you. Otherwise, no, it looks like a lot of people are answering the giveaway question, and there's just a lot of ham that's gonna...
A lot of ham that's gonna be consumed.
Go down, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, carrots, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so as you can see, I'm kind of doing strips like this way, and then once I get to the ends, I just kind of, I'll either strip it around and make kind of like an X, or I take a smaller piece to kind of fill in the holes as you get to the top. You'll have to do smaller pieces on the top just because of the bends. It's not quite as easy to do the longer strips. All right, guys, we're almost done here.
One guy said he makes an acorn out of the Easter eggs.
I have seen that done. I've seen that done. The way I saw it done was with, you put twine, which I was thinking about showing you guys how to do twine covered Easter eggs, but I think it's a little too boring to watch for a live video. But yeah, you could cover it with twine. You could do like a Mod Podge or hot glue to attach it, and just use like a rustic jute twine for the bottom, and then they just put something on the top that kind of makes it look like an acorn. Okay,
a lot of people glitter these eggs.
Glitter the eggs.
Don't get any
I
ideas.
thought that would be popular. We don't do a lot of glitter in this house. My husband doesn't really love it, and I think it makes a mess. So, but I have seen some really fun things done with glitter. Okay, I've got one little piece. I just need to pull off a piece to cover up this egg. Okay, there we go. So I love this, kind of just like a farmhouse style decoration, and as you can see, they're really easy. These would be really fun to do with kids. You just need some scissors and some Mod Podge and some plastic. So you may be asking yourself why I painted the egg white. The reason I did that, the eggs when you buy them are pretty bright colors, and I didn't try it without painting it, so I can't really tell for sure. But the vintage book pages are pretty thin, and I was worried about the bright colors kind of showing through, especially as you add Mod Podge on it. So what I'm doing right now, that's why I painted it. What I'm doing right now though is just doing a really light coat of Mod Podge and focusing on the edges where the paper kind of comes down. And you don't want to do this too much, because as you can see, my hands are starting to get sticky as I'm handling this, and it's starting to bring the book pages off. So just want to do a really light coat. There we go.
They've got a good quote for you. They say, if you're not getting messy, you're not really crafting.
That is true. I usually make a mess. As you can see, we're at the kitchen table, or we're at our dining room table, and I've got a sheet over it. It's got paint all over it, so I definitely do my fair share of mess when I'm crafting. All right, so I'm going to show you. So let's just pretend we made a bunch of those, and I'm going to show you how to use these.
Before and after.
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to use these with the fun crate that we just made, and I think it looks super cute. So let's go back to the crate we made with our painted mason jars. We'll move it here in the sun for you guys. So this is the crate we made, our painted mason jars, and we're gonna make this. We're gonna change this centerpiece over for Easter. So I'm using, it's called, I don't even know, Elixir?
I think it's Excelsior.
Excelsior? I don't know. I found it at the dollar store, and it's just like a fun, this is what it looks like. I'll just give you a little bit. It's in their floral department if you're looking for it, and they sell both a natural color, like a tan color, and the green. So I thought the green was perfect for Easter. So what I did is I just grab a handful of it like this and kind of just move it around, and these are going to be our little nests at the top of our mason jar. It's probably a little bit too much. Okay, so there we go. And these are not wide mouth mason jars, so you may have a little more trouble if you're using the wide mouth mason jar. But this just kind of sets right on top of it and makes a little nest. And while you're doing it, it's going to be really messy down here, but I just cleaned that up after I was done. So grab one last handful here. Okay, so here are some vintage book page eggs that are all done, and I just kind of set these right on top. And there we go. That only took a few minutes to set up, and that centerpiece is ready for your Easter dinner. I have one more idea for you guys. If you're looking to like spice up your table for Easter and you need a little more dimension, you can do the same thing on top of these candlesticks. And these candlesticks are just from Michael's. These would be great for a mantle or shelf decorations. But I love just incorporating the candlesticks, putting a little dab of the fun stuff that makes it look like a nest, and then your eggs on the top. So we are almost out of time, but I'm going to show you one other idea for decorating with these eggs. If you didn't, I'm going to kind of give you 3 different options. Okay, so I like the little mini nests, but I was looking for a way to make just a bigger nest. And I was looking around just my craft supplies trying to figure something out, and I came up with this. So this is just a 8-inch grapevine wreath, and I just had this in my supplies. So next what we do is we're just going to layer in some burlap, and this is just kind of scraps of burlap from my scraps pile. And this is like some vintage burlap. So I'm just going to make like a little base, and then I'm going to take the rest of my package of this fun stuff. I'm just going to put it in here. It's like a little mini nest, and then you can put more of your Easter eggs in here. And that's just another way to display them, and it's just a bigger version of a nest. But that would be really fun in the middle of your Easter table as well. Just another way to make a nest with supplies that you probably have on hand. So we are out of time today, but Jordan from Hometalk is going to be choosing a winner for the giveaway. So we have a couple more minutes here to get your giveaway answer in, so definitely don't stop commenting. Let us know what you guys like to eat for Easter, and then she's going to go ahead and pick a winner, and the winner is going to get a Hometalk tote bag.
Yeah, she picked a winner, and the winner is Kelsey Meeks.
Kelsey, congratulations. So they're going to be reaching out to you on how to get the Hometalk tote bag to you. So definitely tune in tomorrow. I think the next Hometalk video starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. I didn't write that down though. But at the end of the video, when this video ends, there's going to be a button for you to subscribe. So be sure to push the subscribe button, and then you will get notified every time that Hometalk goes live. And they go live a few times a day. So they always have great ideas for you. So my name is Chelsea. I blog at Making Manzanita, formerly the Johnson's Plus Dog. And I had a great time with you guys today. Hope you have a great Easter. Bye.